If you want this brand new I survived the scandemic hat, please visit the all new ablmerch.com through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Evanston, Illinois, offering quote-unquote reparations to their black residents. Now, we're going to get into the details of how much and who's eligible and what are reparations for. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, I want to say this is not reparations for slavery. I'll say that one more time for the folks in the back if you couldn't hear me. This is not reparations for slavery because there was never slavery in Evanston. Evanston is north of Chicago. There was never slavery in Chicago. There was slavery in southern Illinois at one point in time, but there was never slavery in Chicago, let alone Evanston, which is an affluent suburb of Chicago. All right. As a matter of fact, we know a guy, we've seen a guy from Evanston. If you watch Fox News at all, this man right here, Richard Fowler, yeah, he's from Evanston. And if you have seen him talk and you know kind of what's going on, he does not appear to be a guy from gangland, inner city, rundown Chicago. All right. So the question is, why would Evanston, Illinois be handing out reparations, and what is it actually for? Now, we have an actual news clip from the local news out there in Chicago. This is CBS Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and check this out so we can see exactly what's going on, shall we?
Round of reparations will soon be available. Tonight, the city of Evanston moved forward with distributing money to blacks in certain neighborhoods. But as Jermont Terry reports, the move is divided even amongst African Americans.
Across Evanston, there's a push to right the wrong done by the city. Several decades ago, African Americans were redlined. Here's a look at where blacks could live in the city.
So you heard what he said right there. It's about redlining and things like that. Now, if you don't know what redlining is, basically, banks back in the day, they would literally take a map and draw a red line around places where they would not lend. Because really what it was, they wouldn't say it's racism. Maybe it was racism. I'll talk about that in a second. But it was about a credit risk. If you live in this area, we know you don't have a lot of money, you're going to have a high risk of defaulting on your loan. Okay, and back then, there were also plenty of black banks, as there are today. So why couldn't you go to a black bank and get your money? Maybe you couldn't get as much from a black bank. I'm not really sure what's going on, but there were black banks in that particular point in time. So this reparations thing appears to be to make up for like racist policies of the past or policies that are now deemed to be racist, although you still have credit scores today. You did not have credit scores back then, but it's the same thing, really. If you look at a map and divide it by a credit score, it'll look the exact same as this, but different story. I digress.
People of color, such as myself and my dad, who grew up here in Evanston, just a couple blocks over, this is the area where they could live.
Vanessa Johnson McCoy is a realtor in Evanston.
Years ago, that was not the opportunity, that we just couldn't take them to anywhere.
Now, the question is, where do black folks live in Evanston now? Is it the same area or different areas? And if it's the same area, then the question is why. If it's different areas, then the question is why.
Recalls the challenges her parents faced in the 1950s and knows the obstacles blacks in Evanston endured looking for housing.
The banks would not allow them to, they wouldn't give them money to buy outside of this area. It was very challenging.
She's pleased to see Evanston correct the wrong through reparations. The city already approved $10 million over a decade to put towards reparations from the pot revenue.
So $10 million over a decade, I mean, I'm not Albert Einstein, I'm not a rocket scientist, but that seems like $1 million per year. Is that a lot of money? Not really, but we'll see.
Now $400,000 will be available to blacks whose families were impacted by the racist housing policy.
Well, I say it's definitely a start. And I say, yes, we have to begin somewhere.
What this plan is not reparations.
Sebastian Knowles organized the Evanston Rejects Racist Reparations group.
So you got some black folks that are against it. Okay, like young boy right there, he's black, apparently, maybe. I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But he's against the reparations thing because it's not reparations, truly.
It supports reparations, yet the organization claims what the money can be used for places huge limitations.
Residents are unable to use their funds for anything other than housing.
Currently, less than 20 people will be eligible for the estimated $25,000. The money payments go towards home repairs, down payments, or mortgages.
Okay, so what is the money really for? Is it to fix up some of these abandoned homes, some of these bandos? Is it to just get some of the residents caught up on the mortgage payments so they're not going to default and abandon their houses? Like, what is it really about? Is there an ulterior motive here beyond just this whole, oh, we're going to apologize for the wrongs of the past and reparations, all this and that and the third? It seems like one thing disguised as something else.
Evanston rejects racist reparations, says there's no accountability for the next phase.
You can't take a step forward without knowing what the second step is. And we don't know what the second step is.
Housing is just the first step, and there will be other parts of this initiative.
No, Evanston is the first city in the nation to offer reparations, and that's why the one alderman who voted no tonight says she couldn't go forward with this program, claiming that this was nothing more than the housing program, not reparations.
That's what it seems like to me. Right on. Exactly what it seems like to me. Now, that's the video right there, but we have an article as well. In the article, we get to some more details. This is why I always say to people, you know, they say, hey, ABO, what sources do I read? This is HuffPost and AP, but you got to read rather than watching TV. Like that was local news out there. That's the one good source. Also, just different sources to see what's going on and find some details of a particular thing. And this one, they have details. Okay, so here's some of the. I'm gonna read this entire thing. I'll just read some of the key points. So it says the Chicago Suburb City Council voted 8-1 to distribute $400,000 to eligible Black households. Each qualifying household will receive $25,000 for home repairs or down payments on property. So like I said, it's like, okay, if your roof is messed up, go ahead and put this money we're going to give you to fixing your roof so we beautify the city. It seems like they want to fix up some houses rather than giving quote unquote reparations. Like I said earlier. Now the program is being funded, here's the details, through donations and revenue from a 3% tax on the sale of recreational marijuana. So they're going to legalize weed and then tax you on it. So if you Black and in Evanston and you buying your weed, you are paying for your own reparations. It's coming right back to you. You're paying more for weed through the tax, and then they're going to give the extra tax back to you. That's what's going on. You know, government never changed. Okay, and the city has pledged to distribute $10 million over 10 years. So they gave $400,000, so they got $600,000 left, or are they taxing their own money? What's going on with that? But anyway, qualifying residents must either have lived in or been a direct descendant of a Black person who lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969 and who suffered discrimination in housing because of city ordinances, policies, or practices. All right, now that's why that's a very clever way of saying it. Practices, like that's what redlining was, is a practice or a policy of a bank. It wasn't really a law or anything of the sort. There was no law that says, okay, you can't do X, Y, and Z. It was about policies of a bank. We're not going to lend here because it's going to be a big credit risk. And like I said, credit score is the exact same thing, but that's not considered to be racist because it's more of an accurate way of being able to determine credit worthiness, right? And again, this is not reparations for slavery because 1919 is well beyond slavery. And again, there was never any slavery in Evanston. There was never any slavery in Chicago. You had freed Blacks and runaway, like fugitive slaves that were up there in those particular parts of the state. Here's a good little piece. Alderman Cicely Fleming, the lone vote against the plan, said she supports reparations, but what the city council was debating is a housing plan that is being called reparations. She said the people should dictate the terms of how their grievances are repaired. Fleming described the program as paternalistic, and it assumes Black people can't manage their own money. Well, I mean, reparations really, in general, is paternalistic to even ask for it because nobody is alive that was a slave or a slave owner. People can talk about the damages, X, Y, and Z, but everybody can claim that. All right, so that's paternalistic to go out there and beg for money. Meanwhile, the illegal aliens, like you got Black folks begging for like $25,000 to fix their roof on their house. Meanwhile, illegal aliens are getting millions upon millions of dollars while they're breaking the law on television, right? They're getting all kind of food, clothing, shelter, bus tickets, plane tickets, stimulus checks, vaccines for the free, all of that good stuff. While you over here begging for 25 racks to fix your roof on your house, right? But anyway, the efforts, some of which have been underway for years, have gained momentum in the wake of the death of George Floyd and Minneapolis. President Joe Biden has even expressed support for creating a federal commission to study Black reparations, a proposal that's languished for decades in Congress. Like I've said many times before, anytime they say, oh, we're going to do a study, we're going to look into it, you're not going to get it. Don't hold your breath. That's just them giving you lip service. It's not going to happen. Illegal aliens, they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars right now. We're breaking the law on TV. Okay, ain't going to be no study to see, oh, what can we do and how are we going to distribute it? They get it right now, immediately. LGBTQ, all the other little special interest groups get what they want right away. When Joe Biden went on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God, and Charlamagne was asking him about some of these black issues, what did Biden say? Hey, vote for me or you ain't black. How about that? And then that was it. That's all you're going to get. Or you might get some of these little programs like this where it's like, okay, fix your roof and reparations. We'll put a label on it and then be happy with it. You're not going to get anything more than that. So as I close, I want to say this. This little plan over here is cool. It's cool marketing and whatnot, but it's not for slavery. Like the alderman said, who I agree with, who's probably the opposite of me politically, is just a housing program. That's it. You know, you got that all over the country where they might give you a little bit of money. You know, that's like Habitat for Humanity, basically. So this whole thing is just marketing. It's just something to, you know, for the wokesters to get pleased and for the people that are enacting it to please themselves, to feel good about themselves. Hey, we're doing something for the black man, all this and that. And it assumes that you're just kind of weak and you can't do anything, like the alderman said, if you're black. It's pretty racist in general, and I hope people are waking up to see what's going on with this and they're able to move beyond it. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you support this plan for reparations out there in Evanston, Illinois? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or do you not support it? Is it kind of silly? It's just one program disguised as another program. Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. I think the whole program is silly. It's ridiculous. It's not even really what it purports itself to be. It's just wokesters trying to appease other wokesters. That's it. And that is all. Meanwhile, illegal aliens get whatever they want whenever they want it. All right. We see where their priorities lie to quote unquote help people. And if you are there making reparations, you're not on that list. You've got pretty much whatever you're going to get. Maybe some of these woke cities will tax you a little bit more to give you some more little small things, but that'll be the extent of it. And that's all there is to it. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.